Good morning, everybody. Well, it's evening, isn't it?
It is evening.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
it's,
is evening.
I'm Jim. That's Warren. You're watching Talking Vintage Vendor Corner. This is show number 28. What is Vendor Corner? Vendor Corner is a show to help guide other vendors like we are here at Decades Reclaimed Vintage Depot and to discuss topics of our industry. So we already said it. We're brought to you by Decades Reclaimed Vintage Depot, located in Central Florida. If you're ever in the area, we're in Lakeland. Give us a shout out. Stop by. Say hey. Say hey. I
Hey.
saw you on the show or whatever. If we have the time, maybe we'll shoot a show and put you in it.
Hey,
There you go.
Could do that.
That's right. All right, we're going to move on. Today's topics, there's various ones. The first topic we are going to discuss is theft. We all have some. Every shop has some. No matter what you do, if people really want it, they're going to get it. Okay, you just can't stop them. I mean, here at Decades Reclaimed Vintage Depot, let's talk about the things that we use to deter theft. We have cameras, quite a few cameras in the booths, but to be honest with you, unless you have somebody monitoring those cameras, they are deterrent. You could catch somebody after they've stolen, perhaps. But yeah. So another thing that we do is our vendors are required to do shifts here at the shop, and that's a whole nother topic we could probably discuss one day. But they come in for, what is it, you guys come in 4.5 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4.5 hours once a month, and they're plain clothed. Well, not him. But yeah, they're just wearing street clothes or whatever, so nobody really knows that they're vendors here at the shop. And just walking around, they can keep an eye on people.
We try.
I mean, yeah. So I did put this out to other people, how their shop curbs it. And of course, the number one thing was cameras. But again, they said that if they're not monitored, really, but they're a deterrent. Wall of infamy. A wall of infamy.
Oh, so you find somebody,
I guess.
you put them on a board and say,
I mean, who actually does that out there?
Ooh.
I mean, from what I read, there's a few shops that do
Really?
that. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. That's kind of
That
crazy.
could be interesting.
Again, we're in Central Florida, so we're in Polk County. We have Grady Judd, who's probably one of the best sheriffs around. So if we have somebody that does it, we're going to call him, and then he's going to trespass him, and they're never going to come back. Not in Polk County. Nobody crosses Grady Judd, for sure. Here's another one that they do: the no big bag policy. We have talked about this several times here at the shop, but what other shops do is they don't allow backpacks or big bags in the shop. They have signs out in front. Some provide a locker system for people to even put their purses in. They don't allow them around the store. Here at Decades, we have talked about it several times. It's just that our area shops, the other area shops don't do it, and we don't want to be the first one, really. But that's another
Plus
way
it
that
takes up room.
Well, I don't know about giving a locker space. I'm not saying that, but just
okay.
not allow them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
You
All right.
you
Yeah.
got to put it in your car. We have a lot of older shoppers that carry purses. And I know my mom doesn't want to go anywhere without her purse or into any store without her purse. So, I mean, that would be kind of hard, I think.
I think so. You're right. I agree.
Yeah, but that's one thing that
Yeah.
you can do. Okay, we're going to move on to our second topic. I'm sure there's more stuff we could discuss about security, but we're just going to move on to the second one. Tips for newbies. So if you're new in the industry, if you're a new vendor in a shop like Decades Reclaimed Vintage Depot, these tips are for you. Of course, the whole show's for everybody who's a vendor, really. Okay, number one, and this was what most people said: ask the older, successful vendors for help. Yeah.
You're older though.
Well, I'm not older, but I've been in the business for a little
Perhaps
while.
you have.
And so, talk to them. Ask them for their criticism if you can take it. Really, their help. That's the biggest thing. A lot of people can't take the criticism, so I don't have a lot of tact. I just say move this, move that, put this here to get rid of that. But if you listen to me, or if you don't want to listen to me, it's fine with me. At the end of the day, I remain one of the top sellers in the shop, and I know that the other top sellers are similar to how I am. So, all right. So experience. Somebody said experience and time. Yeah, and I kind of already said this. I get ahead of myself here. Somebody just said experience and time is the biggest teacher. They said, take criticism or suggestions, and that's kind of what you have to do. That's back to the number one, asking people who have been around and they're successful. Now, there's vendors that have been around forever, but they're not successful. But if you ask them, even if they're in a slow period, like George, if you talk to George and say, what's the difference between now and when you used to bank it all the time, he'll tell you. I used to spend more time in the shop moving my stuff around, bringing in new stuff like that. And then somebody said, spend money to make money. That's true. That's probably one of the hardest things to do is to, buy items that are higher priced that sell for more. Nobody really wants to throw out $50 on an item, that they may or may not sell, but you got to spend money to make money. So you have to buy the stuff. You got to keep buying it, and then hopefully you make some sales. So
Find the right item.
the right item, yeah. Be reasonable in pricing, and then why didn't I split these? Be reasonable in pricing. So first of all, you have to price to sell, not price to make up the money you spent on them. We've talked about that before. If you overspent on an item, you can't tack that onto the price to make up your money. It's just not going to happen. At the end of the day, people are only going to pay what they want to pay. And if it sits on a shelf forever and it's actually a decent item, it's probably your price. We see this when vendors move out. They come in and they mark everything down. They start marking everything down, and then their sales go straight up. Straight up. Yeah. I mean, it happens. It's happening now for somebody who's getting ready to move out. They've marked everything down, and their sales are going up. Well, that kind of tells you you were probably overpriced to begin with. That's something you should do on a constant basis. If something's been there a while, you got to mark it down, put a sale tag on it. Get it out the door. Even if you overpaid for it, it's got to go.
People like sales.
Yeah, they do like sales. The last one, or not the last one, let's break this one in here. Help yourself through social media. We've talked about this before. Each entity, like Decades, we have 53 vendors in here, and all 53 vendors are a small business in themselves. Each one of them is a small business. They need to help. They need to do their own social media to bring people in the shop. I mean, we do a ton here at Decades Reclaim Vintage Depot. We have Instagram, we have Facebook, we do these shows, they're on YouTube, we've started into TikTok, we have a newsletter that goes out, we have a website. I mean, we're covering all the bases we possibly can. But what an impact it would be if all 53 vendors in the shop had their own Facebook page and promoted the shop. I mean, just the reach would be tremendous, tremendous. You can't make anybody do it, so it is what it is, but you can help yourself by promoting yourself. All right, moving on. For the newbies out there, buy smart.
Yeah.
You got to buy smart. Don't get caught up in it. If there's 50 Barbies and you don't think you're going to sell them, don't buy all 50. Buy one or two. There's always regret in buying, always. Sometimes you miss the boat. Sometimes you sink the boat by paying too much. But either way, you got to do it. You got to be smart about it. You got to be smart about it. People contact the shop all the time because I own the shop. I get rights of refusal, I guess, to purchase their items. And a lot of times they're just too high priced. They just want too much for it. There's not enough room for me to make money. I'm going to have to put a lot of money out to begin with. And it's just, you just got to pass sometimes. You got to move on. So buy smart. All right, next one up is step outside of your box. Yeah, you got to do that. You got to do that. Terry, who's my girlfriend, and I, we go out, we pick sometimes. We have a friend in common. Her name is Elise. She's a vendor here at the shop, and she kills it. Elise kills it. It's because of her eye. It's what she buys that sells. It's not, I don't think, so much how she displays it, even though she does a great job in display, but it's what she buys. It's her eye. She's very trendful. She knows what's trending. She's buying it. So when we go out, Terry and I go out and we go shopping, We look at an item, we're like, I don't know, and then I'll say, or Terry will say, what would Elise do? And if we think Elise would buy that item, then we buy it. So, and I mean, it definitely works. Definitely works. You got to get out of your box, you know. But if your box is successful, you still have to fill that too.
True.
Warren sells trains. Okay, he's got to make sure he keeps those trains going because he keeps selling them. Okay, the next tip is trust yourself and your vision. Yeah, you can't always second guess. You just kind of got to go with it. If it doesn't work out, then change it up. But, you know, trust yourself. Talk to the other people in the shop. Get an idea of what you think is going to work for you and go. I mean, I'm always trying new things, always. And if it sticks, I go with it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, move on and do something else. All right, here's one we have talked about all the time. You're a new person. You got to rearrange weekly. You got to work your booth. You got to understand where people are coming into the shop, how they're coming down the hallways, and what they're going to see first, and you got to change it up. You got to change it up. A lot of places, I know here at Decades, we have a ton of returning customers. And if you're not moving your stuff around, they just kind of look in and go, oh, nothing's changed, and move on. It's probably the number one thing that we say to help people out is rearrange and reposition stuff, do the work, you know. Again, I think that would fall under helping yourself on social media too, pricing well, all of that's part of the work, okay? And let's see. Number 9 is fill up your booth. And we've talked about that before too. Pack it in there. Even though I'm kind of leaning away a little bit because I see success in the booths here at the shop that do more staging, they do filling, you know, and it seems to be working for them. There's a few that fill and stage, and then there's others like me who just shove it all in there. And I mean, mine look horrible right now, and that's why my sales have gone down. Okay, the last thing is the show. Yeah, if you're a newbie and you need insights, come back.
Yeah.
Watch the show again. Listen to what we say. Yeah, because we're experts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, the third topic of discussion. I got this right offline. A store owner, okay, you get this? A store owner closed the shop for 4 days for a death in the family. Do they owe their vendors money back for rent?
That's a good one. Oh, boy.
First of all, I'm an owner,
Right.
okay? I'm going to say yes if their contract states the days that they're open, okay? But here at Decades, I'm going to say no. Because my contractual days here at Decades are every Friday and Saturday and the first Thursday through Sunday of the month. Even though we are open 7 days a week right now, my contractual days are the first Thursday through the Sunday of the month and then every Friday and Saturday. Because originally when we started, we were more of an event than we were a store. And we were only open that first Thursday through Sunday. And then we added Friday and Saturday. We added a second, what we call market weekend, the third weekend in the month, Thursday through Sunday. We kind of added that. But under contract, it is that first Thursday through Sunday and every Friday and Saturday. So I'm already giving back all those days. I do not think if I had to go out of town and close the store for a death in the family that I would give money back, even if it was a contractual day, because I've exceeded the contract on all the other days. We call them bonus days at the shop. Our bonus days represent usually about 30 to 40% of our sales during the month. So, yeah. So there you go. And then what if somebody said something about, what if it was a hurricane? Well, we've closed for hurricanes. No,
yeah.
because nobody's going to go out shopping. I mean, how would I owe you as a vendor money back if there was nobody there to shop anyways, you know?
Yep.
I guess I could have come and sat in the shop during the hurricane when we had no power and just sit here.
Yeah,
But nobody could have shopped anyways, and that's no fault of my own. All right, so that's it for our 3 topics today. I want to thank everybody for watching the show. We will be back in 2 weeks. We come on every other Sunday night at 8 p.m. here on YouTube. We do have other shows here on YouTube. There are Talking Vintage shows. They're more of a local show. We talk about the shop so much. There's not a ton of information if you're a vendor, but If you want to know what we do on a weekly basis, yeah, you can watch that show. You'll see another playlist here on the YouTube channel. It's Talking Vintage. This one is Vendor Corner. This one comes on every 2 weeks, so a Sunday night at 8 p.m.
Yep.
And then the other one is just randomly. It comes on randomly because we shoot those shows. They go on Facebook first, and then they wind up on YouTube. And right now, I think we're in 148 shows, but I think 120 is popping up on YouTube now. They're out of order. But yeah, you can get insight from watching those too. But we appreciate you guys watching our show. Again, I'm Jim. That's Warren. You've been watching Vendor Corner, brought to you by Decades Who Claim Vintage Depot. Have a great night. We'll see you in 2 weeks. It didn't stop.
Oh, it's still going?
No. This is like a movie. You know when you watch a movie and after the credits they do those little things?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I
here we
should-
go.
I should
Yeah.
tell him a
Hi.
joke.
What joke? Oh, no. Hey, his jokes are on YouTube too. They're the shorts that are on YouTube. They're hilarious. You got to watch them. Okay, let's try this again. Let's press the button
Say
this time.
goodbye.
What?
Say goodbye.
Okay, goodbye.